Kimaya, and I'm in grade 5 from Fairview School. Today, I'm presenting my science fair topic, the future of the eye, retinal scans and advancements. Technology is growing, changing, and evolving. And places like financial areas, military areas, and governmental organizations, they're all getting hacked by hackers. And security has started to become very critical. Retinal scans can change all that because it is a trustable biometric recognition technique. Well, you may ask, what are retinal scans? Retinal scans are a biometric technique of identifying a person using their retina. I have drawn all these pictures by myself without copying anything. So here is the eye, and in the eye there is a retina. Well, you see, the blood vessels in the retina are very unique, and no two people in the entire world can ever have a similar blood vessels. They can never have similar blood vessels. Even identical twins never have similar blood vessels. So the retina are very unique. That's why it makes it a very great recognition technique. So that's what retinal scans are. Now let's talk about the problems of retinal scans. So, one of the first problems are that banks, financial places, governmental places, they're all getting hacked, and we need a better security technique. A second question, and a second problem, is also, how is one eye classified different from another? How can you tell the difference between them? How do you differ two eyes? How fast and accurately can you also tell the difference between the eyes? So that is our problem. Now let me tell my hypothesis for these problems. So my hypothesis is that since places are always getting hacked, I think retinal scans will be there always in the future. They will be there at banks. They will be there at governmental areas. They will always be there in the future, and they will be the future of security protection. The hypothesis for the second question is, I think how one eye is classified different is the pattern of blood vessels, which I was talking about earlier, in the eye. Since they're so unique and they're so different, I think that's how they recognize the difference between two eyes. Also, I'm sure in around 10 to 15 seconds, the retinal scanner can detect the person. And that is a very, very tiny amount of time because the machine is so big. And so 10 to 15 seconds is very less compared to the size of the machine. So now, let's talk about the feature extraction process, my experiment. So, how retinal scans work is that there's a beam of light. Let's say this pen is the beam of light. And then it goes through the eye. So it goes through the iris, it goes through the lens, into the retina. And so the light beam scans a picture of the retina. It scans a good picture, and then it gets an accurate picture, like this one over here. That's the first stage. It goes through many other stages, like darkening and grayscaling the image, darkening the veins, smoothing out the picture, binary cleaning it, a lot of different stages. But for stage 7, 8, for stage 7 and 8, you finally notice the blood capillaries, which are the actual unique patterns. Blood vessels can be similar. There is a tiny chance of being similar, but they're mostly unique. But the blood capillaries, they're never unique. And that's how the recognition technique works. So it finds all the blood capillaries, all of these blood capillaries over here, locates them. Then for step 8, it erases all of the blood vessels. So that's the process of feature extraction, how the retinal scanner takes out piece by piece, takes out tiny pieces by piece, and so it gets from stage number 1 as a picture to stage number 8, just tiny blood capillaries. That's a very cool process. So now, since we've done my experiment, now let's talk about my conclusion. So, we have learned that retinal scans are one of the most accurate technologies ever made in this world so far. Most accurate. And I'm sure they will be the future for many years from now. They will be the near future. And so they're also very hard to hack. That's what we've learned, because retina blood vessels and blood cells are never unique. They're so different. So different, so different. And so they're never similar. And we've also learned that this recognition strategy is very trustable because no one can hack them, and in the near future, nobody will doubt them. That brings me to another point. These retinal scans have some side effects sometimes. So let's just say this is the beam of light. If you shine through the eye, sometimes the iris, this tiny blue part, it can start dilating. The pupil in the iris, it can start dilating. So dilating means it grows bigger and tinier. So this iris pupil sometimes can grow almost as big as the iris because of the intense heat. It can sometimes damage the eye. But I'm sure many years from now, nobody will doubt this because new technology, new advancements, and all these problems will be gone because there's new technology. And we've also learned that the retina's blood capillaries will clearly differentiate two eyes, very clearly. And so they're just very unique and complex. That's why they will differentiate two eyes. And so, one more thing that's very interesting, important, there are new devices where retinal scans are being created on. There's ultra-wide retinal camera scopes, there are retinal scanning apps, there are handheld retina scanners. These are big achievements. So, what have we learned? So what's the ending? What does this project demonstrate? This project demonstrates how retinal scans are a very unique signature of a person. Retinal scans are just another type of signature. Unique signature of a person and a very safe, very good method of recognition. It also shows how this technology is evolving and growing and changing, and retinal scans are going to be the first one out of many technologies that will be grown. I also have another point to bring up. I have designed a new, unique technology that I'm sure will be a future innovation many years from now. This technology are retinal scan glasses. I have drawn a picture here of a retinal scan glasses. They're just glasses. When you put them on, you get scanned. Your eye scans them, and if your retinal scan, if your glasses detect your eye, then you have access to your bank account information, you have access to your own personal information, your ID card, your credit card information. You have access to everything. You have access to your phone, all the calls you get on your phone, all the messages, all your friends, everything. You have access to everything you have in your account. But if the retinal scan doesn't identify you, you don't get access to anything. It doesn't work. I'm sure this will be a future innovation, and I'm sure that it will. Retinal scans, such tiny things, but they will be growing and going so far. Thank you for listening to my project, The Future of the Eye, Retinal Scans and Advancement.